Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And today we are continuing our Sister Wives Rewind. This is season 9, episode 4, Marriage, Texas style. And oof, was this depressing, as all depressing can be. This was sad.
It was sad. It was really poor Christine. I can't believe she lasted as long as she did. I mean, Kody was he just has no regard for her feelings. None.
Not a one.
And I'm curious to, when we get into this, what you think about the quality of therapy or marriage counseling or whatever was going on, because it didn't seem good to me.
No, not really. I mean, I don't do a lot of this sort of what do they call it? This experimental, exponential, like out in the world work with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a situation where I had them building rock towers, but, and I understand why Nancy wanted to observe them and try to see like, how would they work this stuff out? You don't want to keep interjecting. But at the same time, there were times that I was a little bit like, wow, this is Kody being filmed in front of a therapist. And woof, you're still no awareness. You're still moving. You're just bulldozing over her. So there's a part of me that kind of felt like midway through, I mean, I don't know. I might have stepped in and said, hey, can we pause for a second here? Do you see what's happening, Kody?
Yeah, some redirecting of the exercise. Yeah.
Or even asking Kody, how do you think Christine's feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
That could have been something. So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to know because the show is edited. It's possible she did all of that and we just don't see it.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of it. I know Nancy's gotten some criticism for, but again, you can't really judge someone who's being edited. You don't quite know what she is doing or not doing with them. I think that trying to have this marriage workshop time and then your anniversary at the same time is not something I would recommend to people. I think that you kind of need to go into it like we're going to do some work and not vacation. So I did set them up.
Yeah, they didn't really get like a real, or Christine anyway, she didn't get a real anniversary trip. That wasn't fun for her.
No.
She might have fun a little bit, fun at dinner or something, but like 1 hour out of the whole day?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, before we start in on this episode, I just wanted to bring up a couple of Sister Wives news items. So the big story this past week is that officially the ownership change at Coyote Pass has happened. But, on the plus side, Janelle and Mary did get each a 25% share in the property as a whole on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they own it is they're still on title with Robyn and Kody on most of these parcels. So, like, Janelle and Mary have their own little parcel, which is like 12.5%. Then there's one where Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Mary are all on title. That's 25%. And another one with Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Mary on title. So they can't sell those pieces that they're on with Kody and Robyn without their cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of back to square one. That was the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to separate themselves from these people. So, I mean, it's a step in the right direction, but now what? They still don't have any cash in hand. And what about the cash that they put in to Robyn's house? Everything, everything. I don't know. Maybe something did happen with that. We don't know the whole deal, but I'm not that excited about this because I don't think it gets them anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're very, very right.
Anyway, I don't know what else to say. It's not over. They're still going to have to own property with these dimwits. And can you imagine? I mean, like, Kody's never going to give up that property or make. We all know how he is. We all know the writing's on the wall.
Can Mary and Janelle need to get Kody and Robyn on board to sell?
For 2 of these parcels, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're on, all 4 of them are on title to 2 parcels. Janelle and Mary own 1 parcel together.
So they could try to sell that 1 parcel.
Yeah. They only have to work with each other on that one, but it's a smaller parcel, according to this map.
Mm-hmm.
And also, who's to say that someone's going to want to just buy the whole thing or one of, the way that the boundary lines are? Maybe someone would want to buy the whole thing. They want all of it or nothing. I don't know if you're going to find someone who's going to want to buy a parcel right next to Kody and Robyn's parcel.
Yeah. The only one that wants to buy that is like some kind of podcaster, one of us who would want to live there and just observe.
Well, they don't even live on this property. They live in their new.
Oh, that's right. They bought their new McMansion. That's right. Yeah. They have to be hurting for money. I mean, I feel like Kody and Robyn are going to have to sell this at some point.
Yeah, but who's going to want to buy it? If you can want to sell and there not be any willing buyers.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, there's no utilities on this property. If you were going to build a house, would you want to build it on a lot with no utilities? You have to put in your own utilities. And so anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
And then, what else? Oh, so Janelle has finally moved all of her stuff from Flagstaff to North Carolina. I guess she had a bunch of stuff in a storage space or whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she was on Instagram celebrating. The last of her stuff is on its way to North Carolina. It's like, how much stuff do you have, Janelle? Like, and then poor Maddie, she's going to take all this stuff to Maddie's house. Where are they?
Is she living with Maddie? Is that where she's been living? Okay.
Yeah. But Maddie's excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, to have her mom there, she's got 4 little kids.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very helpful, but I just don't know where she's going to put all her stuff.
I don't know. They got that property now. They can just build a shed on the property.
Yeah, just slap a shed up. That's what Kody would do.
Yeah, and then stick Mary in it.
Say, here's your barn dominium.
Yeah, Mary. Be happy.
And then we have Christine has her new bed and breakfast, or not bed and breakfast, Airbnb. Sounds such an old lady. I say bed and breakfast. Her new Airbnb. I forget the name of the town, but it's in Utah near a bunch of, national parks and places to go. And, I see these videos of her and she's just so happy, and it's just so wonderful to see, and how David is doing all this stuff with her. They're out like tooling around in those razors or whatever they're called around their property. She's just like smiling. I mean, smiling ear to ear. And then you compare that to how she was in this episode that we're going to cover. And it's just like night and day. And I'm just really happy for her.
Yeah.
And I want to go stay in that Airbnb, and I want to go to the beautiful national parks. I really do.
Yeah. No, I'm very happy for her, because watching this episode it felt a little bit like, because I don't know what it's like to leave a long-term marriage. I'm still in it, but I don't know what it's like to leave a long-term relationship like that. But I can imagine that it must happen in stages, where you're kind of like, you get chipped away at, and then there's this stage, and then you kind of resolve and you kind of get to this stage. I feel like what we witnessed over this weekend was definitely a stage of Christine almost saying, I give up. Like, I can't, I'm not going to win. I give up. I really do, because she had to have cut herself off emotionally or numbed herself or something in order to keep going, because he was so incredibly rude and dismissive and zero empathy for her. And I mean, I have my own like theories of what was going on for him, but it was this feeling of like, oh, you've kind of deadened yourself a little bit here. Like, this is a new level for you. That's what I felt I was witnessing.
I felt it was a real low, and she was at a real low. And I think the episode coming up after this is the one where they're building those boats.
Yes, it is.
And he really goes off on her. Again, knowing he's being filmed. So what is it like behind closed doors?
Yeah. So this is Kody at his best. Him putting those rocks together was him at his presenting himself at his best.
Yeah.
So you cannot imagine what these conversations are when there's no cameras. But should we just dive right in?
Let's dive right in, because before they go to Galveston, there's more adoption stuff happening.
Yeah, well, Robyn's looking for paperwork. So
she's looking for her divorce papers from her first husband, 2 minutes before they're supposed to walk out the door. She's like, oh, where are those divorce papers?
Well, I decided for the first time to like really put the pen down and really look and observe.
Yes.
Like, what am I seeing?
What did you see?
Well, I saw a gumball machine that seemed really odd to me. Like, where in God's name did that come from? And then I saw this Heineken sign.
Yeah.
And I know that he used to do signs, but for people that don't drink, why would you keep a Heineken sign? And anyway, like, nobody under the age of 20 something should have a Heineken sign unless you own a bar. I mean, it's like one of those things you see at a frat house.
Yeah. It's a neon sign. Kody didn't sell those kinds of signs. He sold like big billboards, I think. Like big signs. This is a neon sign you plug in the wall at a bar. Yeah, and Heineken, God, I haven't had a Heineken since I was probably 15.
Yeah. I mean, it is child's play here. As drinks go, sorry.
Yeah, and her office was real junky. I mean, it was not organized. I don't know what is going on in there.
Is this ground zero for Sister Wives Closet? Is this,
I guess,
where the magic is happening?
World headquarters.
Yeah.
For my Sister Wives Closet.
But I couldn't spot anything else. But those were the two that I was like, oh, that feels so weird. Like, that is odd.
Yeah. It was weird. And then Kody comes on. He says, we're in legal hell. Oh, Kody, I
don't think this is legal hell. You're yet again shuffling paperwork. We're just shuffling paperwork.
It's just shuffling paperwork. Legal hell. I mean, come on. This isn't like, the Enron case. It's not the O.J. Simpson trial or something.
Yeah.
There have been bigger legal battles.
Yeah, he's got to go to Ron Reynolds' office for the third time this month.
Why are they all going together?
I don't know. Well, poor Mary. Again, we see the replay of him when Mary said, I don't want to go witness you guys get married. And Cody's like, we're in this the whole time, And then he decides, I mean, I think Kody just was like, let's bring everybody, Yeah.
Like, and then Kody explains, and the language of this, I think, is so bizarre. He says, Mary graciously offered up a legal divorce so Robyn could get legally married to make it easier to adopt the kids.
Yes.
That's their story, and they're sticking to it. Even though we know it's BS. I think was it Mary? I think Mary may have recently confirmed this on one of her, Fridays with Friends or something. Someone asked her about that, and she said she confirmed that it was Robyn's idea from the get-go.
Aha.
Yeah.
So why then? I guess my question would be to Mary. Then why fake it? Why can't this be?
Because all those years she had to, because she wanted to be with Kody. She wanted to get Kody back. That was one of the stipulations,
Yeah.
She had to keep this farce going.
Yeah. God, what these women have done to keep this man happy.
I know.
But it sounds like Christine also had, I mean, Mary had that list of things that Kody told her, of all these things that you need to do. And I think that it sounds like Christine had one too.
Yeah, she did. And at the top of it was, be nice to these people, meaning Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
Same speech he gave at the knife and the kidneys,
Yes.
It came full circle. You be nice to these people and I'll, I forget the exact terminology. We'll get to it. I wrote it down, but same thing, like be nice to these people and I'll be, then we'll have a real marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But that, that never happened, but we'll get to that. But
yeah.
So we find out that, the real reason they're trying to do this in Montana is that Montana is more polygamous friendly. And remember last episode, they're trying to say, oh no, we're doing it in Montana to make it easier on David. So, if he needs to come to court or he wants to come, say his piece, we're making it easier. But they let out that it's because it's more polygamous friendly. And, but then I love this. Then Robyn comes in and she says her lawyer, Sasha, quote unquote, talked to the judge in Montana. And the judge told her that because the kids are in Nevada, and Kody's in Nevada, the case should be in Nevada. Jurisdiction is in Nevada. That's what I said last week.
Well, yes.
These people just, they make these things up and then they get caught in their lies and then they have to backtrack and blame it on the judge.
I don't know. This I felt like was really, because they went to Ron Reynolds' office and they're going through all of this. And basically Ron says, well, if David, her ex, does not show up, that means that a court order will go into place saying you're a negligent parent. Is that how that works?
That's not exactly true. I mean,
because I felt like that was a very damning statement and a little bit like, oh, interesting that we're keeping this little fact, we're keeping this in this. I mean, again, I don't know David, her ex, from a hole in the wall, but really, truly, this has not been fair to him. We've never shown both sides of this situation.
Yeah, and they are taking little digs at him. Like, I can't remember if it's Kody or Robyn says that he's avoiding service. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know if that's even true, but even if it is, it's neither here nor there. There's this thing called substitute service. If you try to serve someone at least 2 or 3 times, you can then leave a copy of the paperwork at their place of business. You can leave it with a responsible adult who answers the door. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard to serve someone.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make it seem like, he's a ne'er-do-well. And this presumption of abandonment and being a negligent parent if he doesn't fight it. No, it's just a legal process. It's like there's no one's judging him as anything. It's like she has filed a petition. If he chooses not to respond or not to participate, and the court feels it's in the best interest of the children to make the order, they're going to make the order. It's just this language they use, these little digs. And then this is when Robyn freaks out and has to walk off set.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
And she also said that hearing how much this could hurt her ex and his family upset her. And she's trying to make him understand she isn't trying to take his kids away as far as visitation goes. And I'm just like, he doesn't trust you, Robyn. That's probably why he's not interacting with you or cooperating with you. He doesn't trust you. You already took his kids away from him once.
Yeah.
Moved them to another state.
Well, and this whole thing about, they're acting like, well, we have to get the kids. We have to, if something happened to Robyn, we have to get the kids. We have to get the sick kids. But even in the same breath, you're saying that the kids are going to visit, but you're okay with him visiting. Mm-hmm. And so would that be terrible if something happened to Robyn?
Yeah.
If the kids did go live with their father? I mean, the whole thing is they're really trying to make themselves out to be these benevolent heroes who are doing the right thing. But as you've mentioned before, there's other legal things they could do without adopting the kids that would ensure that the kids would be able to, stay with the Browns if that's what they wanted.
Yeah. And I also think that their father would want them to still see the Browns because it's not like he's fighting for custody now.
Yeah.
He's obviously okay with them living there, or else he'd do something about it, presumably. They make it seem like he's the one who's so whatever. And he's not. He hasn't shown any tendencies of being manipulative like Robyn and Kody.
Yeah.
So,
because if there were hard facts, if he was calling Robyn, harassing her, if there was all these issues, trust me, we would have seen it.
Oh,
we would have seen something.
It would have come out by now. There's nothing. There's nothing there.
And then Ron Reynolds saying, okay, well, you could adopt the kids within a week. That seems very quick.
Yeah, that made no sense. They're saying that if he already signed the paper, then yeah, the adoption could happen next week. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've already got that court date set up, where they go to the courthouse, everyone piles in, and the judge approves it.
Yeah.
But I thought he hadn't even been served yet. So how could they be being adopted in a week? There's no due
You don't
process.
know the jurisdiction. Served
I know.
where? Served it for a court date in Montana or a court served in Nevada? We don't know.
Due process, jurisdiction. These concepts are just way too much for these people.
Anyway, well, we can't worry about that right now because Kody and Christine have an anniversary, not 22, 21. And they're going to Galveston. So this was one of my favorite parts of the episode was Kody going around hugging people. Mm-hmm. Now, did you see the hug with Robyn? That was a long hug, much longer than the hug he had with Janelle.
Yeah, his hug with Janelle was sort of like a side hug. It was a full hug.
See you, buddy. See you, pal.
Take it easy.
Yeah. And then Robyn was this long, hug, and then he's hugging Gwen. But then you see Annie.
Oh,
the look on Annie's face was just like, you motherfucker.
She was mad dogging him. She does not like him.
Because now that Annie's living there, I bet you anything, she's witnessing a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
And she's hearing from Christine.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. So, of course, Annie's like...
Christine started out this segment by saying, I've reached a point where almost every day is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Annie is there witnessing this. Mm-hmm. And Annie is not happy.
Yeah. And she cannot see a silver lining. That's why I was saying that I think she obviously put a lot of hope into this weekend. And I think that as we watched that rock formations section, it was almost like you watched it slowly move away, dying of what she hoped this would be. And I just have to accept that this is what it is. Oh, God. I hope Christine's an inspiration for any women out there that are in this kind of marriage.
Go get her book. Yeah, get her book when it comes out.
Leave.
And then poor Mary. Mary's giving them a ride to the airport. This is probably on her list of things to do.
You have to get rides to the airport. Every time I need a ride to the airport.
Anytime Kody needs a ride to the airport, Mary's got to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, this whole thing with the relationship with Pat, the former therapist, is a little sticky because I'm not if I have people that I've worked with that I don't work with anymore, I'm not friends with them. I'm not going on their anniversary trip. I'm not doing any of this. I'll just be perfectly blunt with you. It's really sticky.
Yeah, and they're going to Galveston because Pat moved to Galveston.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, we have a friend in Galveston.
Yeah.
And so, like they act like they're real buddy-buddy with her.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Kody says he loves Pat because Pat gives him a lot of validation. And I think maybe this is part of the problem. And maybe one of the issues with Nancy was that it sounds to me like Nancy didn't put up with his crapola. And that Nancy was a little bit tougher with these things. But I get the sense that Pat really found Kody to be interesting or charming. And I think that she really allowed him she really validated a lot of this stuff. And I'm not surprised that he loves her so much. Of course you do, because she likes you.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then we go through this whole thing where Nancy takes him to the beach, and then she does this whole thing about drawing lines. And are you drawing, which I agree with that. Are you drawing a line in the sand or drawing a boundary out of conviction, like it's a boundary for you and it's important, or are you doing it out of anger, out of spite?
I didn't understand this.
I didn't understand it either.
I was like, okay, what is the line for? What are you saying? But I really didn't get it.
I didn't quite understand what it is too, because I could see how you might use the beach. Again, I feel for Nancy, because I do think that if someone turned to me and said, hey, can you come out to this beach and find something to do and all of this? It's like, okay, what am I supposed to do out here in this beach? Mm-hmm. But again, shouldn't have agreed to do it if she was not prepared. But yeah, I didn't quite understand. I understood this idea of boundaries and, having lines and all of that, and using the sand as a representation of what that looks like. But the only one that we saw was this idea of Kody saying, well, I'm going to draw this line where it says, I'm never going to say I'm done. And so I think that's a really important point, because yes, Kody, you would never say that you're done, but it doesn't mean that you aren't crossing lines every single which way,
right,
every way. So this comes back to Kody's big thing of, well, you're the one, Christine, knife in the kidneys, you're the one leaving, you're abandoning us, you don't care about us anymore. When in actuality, it's a little bit like, no, you basically are the one saying, I'm going to treat you however I'm going to treat you.
Yeah. He thinks he's a hero for saying, I would never leave you. I'll just treat you like shit while you're here. Well, but I'm not going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so aren't I a hero?
Yeah. I mean, that's meaningless. That means nothing. So
I don't know what that's all that. And Christine agrees, because poor Christine is just like, okay, good. So I'm getting something here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. It didn't get very far.
I don't know.
I don't know. Then we go, I love this. So they're staying at this bed and breakfast, and so they talk about how Galveston, because it's such a low elevation, it gets wiped out like every 100 years by some big storm. Mm-hmm. And Christine says, so indicative of our marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, Christine is really at a low point.
Yeah.
Desperate.
Really, really desperate. And then they have to put on pirate outfits, because Pat bought them pirate outfits.
They're talking like pirates.
And then they go to this pirates exhibit. It's like, I don't know how many pirate jokes I can really sit through, but, okay. So is this, I can't remember if they said this in an interview or not, but this is what I wrote down. That's something that Kody was saying. Maybe this was my interpretation of it, which is like, Christine and I have a lot of fun together, and then she ruins it by wanting to talk about our relationship.
Yeah.
Did he say that directly?
Yes. Okay. He says, whenever we're having fun, Christine wants to talk about our relationship. And it's like, yeah, because it's probably the only time she feels safe to talk to you, Kody. Yeah. Because, you're being lighthearted. You're not being a jerk.
Yeah. And this is a big thing that happens with couples all the time. I hear this constantly, which is when you're getting along with your partner, you don't want to talk about these things because you fear it's going to lead to fighting. Mm-hmm. And then, but the problem is that if you don't talk about these things when you're both in a good headspace, you are going to fight later on. It's all going to come out, and you're going to say and do things that you wish you hadn't. So you are better off. But so that's telling you right then and there, which is, Christine, Christine's fun until she wants something from me, until she expects something from me.
And isn't that the whole reason you're here this weekend, is to work on your marriage? So what's wrong with talking? Yeah. Who cares if you're having fun? Or, I mean, you're that's the reason why you're there.
Yeah. Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages. So this seems to come, we kind of learn a little bit about what exactly was happening, which is while they're still in Utah. So this tells us pre-Robyn, pre all of this, basement wife, Christine was not happy. And so that apparently Christine questions the principal. And there was something, and she's very honest about this. She's like, I just didn't think that I would be so jealous or angry. And she recognizes that she's like, I didn't look at what was underneath it. But I told Kody I hate plural marriage. And this is one thing that people do. And Kody's the kind of person that would do this, is they hold on to one thing that you said and they're going to hold on to that. And it sounds to me like Kody heard that about this plural marriage. I don't know about plural marriage. And he held on to that and is using that as a weapon every single time this comes up about their faith.
But but also she says she hates feeling jealous and she never felt jealous before. I feel like the way I've always interpreted what she said is the jealousy came when Robyn came into the family.
But she wasn't happy in Utah. She says, I was questioning the principal in Utah.
Well, yeah, they were in Utah for 2 years before with Robyn.
I guess so. Maybe she was questioning it then. I kind of interpreted that as maybe she was questioning it before past. Robyn came in. Because I think
she always said she loved being a third wife. She was happy. She loved being the third wife. She wanted to be the last wife. She was happy. And then she did not expect Robyn to come along. I think that's when she started to not like the principal, because I don't think she was jealous of Christine and Mary. I think the first time Janelle and Mary. I think the first time she experienced jealousy was with Robyn. That's the sense I always have had, and that's the sense I got from this conversation.
Okay, I can believe that. We'll find out in her book. Hopefully, we'll dig. We want to know the moment Christine, the moment this happened.
Yeah. I think I probably was when she was about 8 months pregnant and Kody started driving to St. George every weekend to bang Robyn. That's probably when it started. If I had to guess.
But Christine says that Kody really shut down when she said that he took it. This is my interpretation, that he took it as her saying, I'm not happy in plural marriage, or I'm not happy. Kody took it very personally.
Yeah, I'm not happy with you.
I'm not happy with you. And so she says, we need to find a way around these miscommunications. We don't communicate very well without, I guess, pushing each other's buttons. They tend to push each other's buttons. But then we get into this whole thing about lack of trust, lack of intimacy.
Which I feel Kody uses this as a catch-all. Like, if he does, I don't trust you, so I can't be intimate with you. You don't trust, why? Because she says that she's jealous? Like, you don't trust her? I just feel like he just throws that out. It's a way to deflect any attention or responsibility on his part.
Well, it's also interesting because usually men and women, and across the board for the most part, with heterosexual couples, the reality is men usually want more sex than the woman. That's usually what he's coming in talking about. But it's not across the board. But right, the biggest piece of it is that usually women need to feel trust and to be seen and heard in order to want to have intimacy. Men want the intimacy in order to, then trust.
To feel trust, yeah.
So Kody's all backwards, that's not the norm. And, the other part of it too is I know that they don't want to talk about sex, but is it sex or intimacy? Because they're different. I mean, sex is part of intimacy, but I wonder if what Christine's really asking for is just more like hug me, touch me, kiss me, want to be excited to see me.
Right.
Tell me I look good. I don't know.
Yeah. Spend time with me, go out, take me out on a date. All of it. It's not It's not just about sex at all.
Yeah. Well, we do get one little break here where we see what's up with Truly. So Annie's taking care of the kids, and we have this interview with Truly, who is so cute, and she's just like, I don't want to talk about my parents. I don't want to talk about these people. Let me talk about what I want to talk about. But she's just all over the place. And the one thing that we learned from Annie, and Annie's like, it's really good that they're getting away together. I'm so glad they're getting away.
Annie.
Oh, Annie. Poor Annie probably had to really bite her tongue.
Yeah.
Okay. So now's the time. This is it. We're back at the beach.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
So Nancy takes Kody and Christine to the beach, and she says, look at all these rock formations. I want the two of you to build your own rock formation that is, these are the words I wrote down, which is like, it should be symbolic of your marriage and this anniversary. It needs to be cooperative and a vision for the future. Is that the word?
A lot. I know, but yeah, sounds right.
I think part of the problem was that Nancy did not clarify with either of them about what the original assignment is.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christine took it as, we're building something that represents our marriage, the two of us. Kody took it as the family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I think that one was a little bit like, should have been a little more clarity of like what exactly this should be. But I don't know.
Yeah, she should have stopped him. She should have stopped because he immediately started talking about, the 4 cornerstones and the base 4. This is the base 4. He immediately started in with that whole family thing. And she should have stopped him and said, no. We're here this whole weekend. This is all about building your relationship, working on your relationship. This should be focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Kody just takes control. He takes over. He gets in his mind, he's going to do 22 rocks for 22 people. Christine doesn't really like this idea. And he's just not listening to her. She's trying to give input, trying to say, I thought this is supposed to be about our relationship.
At one point she says, can we build something that's just the two of us? She asks him, ignores it.
He ignores her. Then in a talking head, he says, Christine wanted to take it in another direction. I wasn't going to let her. It's about the whole family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's very dismissive of this. But he says to her, like, well, trust me. And it's a little bit like, okay, Kody, why? Why should she trust you?
Right.
You're saying you don't trust her. So why should Christine suddenly stop and trust you if you're saying you don't trust her?
And he's not even letting her participate. You know what I mean? It's not like he's even saying, go get, he sends her to go get a rock or something, but does not, totally shuts her out of this exercise. And she says he's this is about us. This is supposed to be about us. He's not present. He's just bulldozing through, and it's hurtful. She says, nope, there's no point in discussing it. She kind of gives up, in the moment. In the end, he's not going to do what I want him to do at all. So I'll just lose with grace.
Yeah. And try to put, what she does is she tries to put a good spin on it. She finds the heart shot, the heart rock, the rock that's shaped like a heart. Yeah. And I think we just saw exactly what their relationship is, which is she asks for something. He dismisses her, bulldozes her, treats her like crap. And she says, okay, I have to muster whatever energy I have for my kids, for my sanity, to be, to be nice and to do this. And it's just really so hard to watch. I just wanted her to take one of those fucking rocks and throw it at his head and get up and be like, bye, Nancy. Bye, Kody. Peace out.
Peace out.
I'm going home.
It is so clear. He does not take her seriously at all as a person. I think I might believe what he said when he said, I never loved you. I don't think he did. I think he married her because of her status. She was able to give him a lot of children, which was the most important thing to her. I think if she had had infertility instead of Mary, he would have found some way to get rid of her. And, she did so much for the family. He kind of had to keep her around. I don't think he ever loved her. I really don't.
Mm-mm.
After seeing this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, how could he?
Yeah. So the tower was awful. And then, so basically Nancy tries is this where she tries to kind of insert a little bit of, well, hey, how did you feel like that went? And don't you think that maybe she was trying to do that? And Kody kind of sort of concedes, but basically he says to Christine, honor the entire family and I will love you.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is. It's the same as you never really tried to get along with these people, meaning Robyn. I mean, you can't tell me he's trying to say that Christine and Janelle never liked each other. And they've acknowledged that they had tensions, but they always worked together for the good of the family and the kids and appreciated each other. Janelle always was very appreciative. Christine, helping raise her children. So that's, that's not it. This all comes back to that she's not nice enough to Robyn or whatever. It's not that, I don't even think it's that she was, because we've seen she was nice to Robyn. There were times where she was the only person being nice to Robyn. It was more like he was pissed off at her because she was jealous of Robyn. She felt jealousy and she expressed it from day one. The season 1, episode 1, she's sitting on the couch, very, very pregnant and crying, saying, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And he just had complete disregard for her.
Yeah. He didn't want anything getting in his way.
No.
At all. At all. Well, one of the things he said that I felt like was very untrue is he said something to the effect of like, well, we had a family before Christine came into it. It's like, well, hold on a second. You had Mary and you had Janelle. And apparently Christine joined around the time that Logan was born.
Right.
So really, truly, no, you didn't. You didn't have this family. You had two wives that didn't get along.
Yeah.
That's what you had. And then Kody does say something about like how I admit that I railroaded you, but I'm not sorry for that. He said that at some point.
What does that even mean? Railroaded you, meaning like making you come into this family as a peacekeeper?
Well, I think the railroaded had to do with the rock formation. Like I railroaded you during the rock formation. And then he says, what can I give you in return? And Christine says, well, I just want you to trust me. I just want you to trust me so that you'll be nice to me, so that you'll actually be kind to me. Essentially, she didn't say that, but that's what she says. And and it comes back to this whole thing around, Kody thinking that she doesn't care about her sister wives.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, she says, I care more about my sister wives than he says I do. And my actions have proved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And we're going to see in this upcoming, the tell-all, the one-on-ones, with Sukanya. And I cannot listen to Kody talk about how like, well, don't get mad at me because I fell in love with Robyn. Like he's like the victim here, like because he fell in love with Robyn, he didn't love his other wives. Therefore, I should not be blamed and I should not be villainized. Don't I have the right to love? It's like, yeah, Kody, you absolutely positively do, but you should not have stayed in a plural marriage with these other women knowing that you loved her. Like, no. It's like he has zero responsibility for anything. And that's the part that's so destructive is this is a person who has like all of these marriages and all these kids, and he's unwilling to take any ownership of anything that he does at all. He just
was so awful to these women until he drove them away. So that he couldn't be blamed. They left me. I didn't leave them. I wasn't going to leave them. Well, so after that disastrous day at the beach,
She at least gets to go to a nice dinner.
And of course they have a convertible. They've rented a convertible.
That's the other thing too. Can you really afford a convertible, Kody? But I'm sure the show was paying for it. But.
Yeah, but it's like, that's just so Kody. Remember when he had the honeymoon with Robyn and they had a convertible? Yeah. And Mary, when he went somewhere with Mary, that he's always got to rent a convertible. Can't have just a regular old, subcompact car.
Yeah.
To have a convertible.
And I always think that's really interesting, people who love to be in convertibles and always want the top down. Like, you really want people looking at you, because I feel like it's very exposed.
Yeah.
I like to be in my hovel a little bit here. I don't need the world to know everything I got going on here. But that's someone who really wants to be looked at.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know he likes attention.
Yeah.
So they're going to this romantic restaurant called Sheeran's.
It didn't seem, apparently it's the restaurant of Galveston, but it didn't look that great. But I'm glad she got to go out to a nice dinner and it wasn't Hugo's Palace or wherever he took Mary after he divorced her.
She says, it's nice to be in a fancy place. And it's like, you don't get out much, do you, girl?
No, poor thing. But she says that she realizes that she's got to make it about the two of them. She can't make it about the two of them. She has to make it about the family.
Well, she capitulates here. You see, it's like she came on this trip. She started out trying to get some attention to their relationship. And Kody has just beaten her down. And now she's like changing course. And she's saying, it is about the family. And that's the most important thing, not their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So he's completely twisted her, turned this around. So manipulative.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's just drank the Kool-Aid here.
Yeah. Well, we see a quick, brief thing where they go over to Janelle's house, and Janelle's losing her mind without Christine there to help her with her kids.
Well, and also she says, and Kody's not here, to discipline the boys. And, she can't call him. Oh, this is such a weird dynamic. We've seen this in other episodes. Mm-hmm. The boys start fighting and she calls Kody to come over, but he doesn't really like to discipline them because he doesn't want to be always just called over to discipline them and be the disciplining parent, which I understand. They don't parent very well together with these boys.
No,
I don't think.
And I didn't think that what Gabe and Garrison were doing was that bad.
No, it was very minor. Boys, they're just brothers. That's just how they are. She needs to go. I don't think Janelle has a high tolerance for much. Mm-hmm. It seems to me like that's why she always kind of wanted to escape and leave the house. And she was fine with working 12 hours a day. That was her idea of heaven, because she didn't have to be home dealing with this.
Yeah.
It was strange. I couldn't tell if she was being real and sincere or this was some kind of act, but it didn't make sense to me.
Well, and I'd also like to say, what are you doing now for work, Janelle? I can understand if you've been working, you commuted an hour and then worked a 10-hour day and commuted another hour home and your boys are making it really hard for you. And I can understand that, but it's like, we're at the point now that you guys are doing what? Sister Wives Closet and some MLMs? Like, what are you tired from?
Well, Janelle has her real estate stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. From what?
Although we've never seen her sell a house, but...
Anyway, yeah. And she had Maddie there too. And Maddie, of course, was like the one. I noticed that the boys all disappeared and Maddie was the one cleaning up.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
So now we're back to
Pat.
Back to Pat. The last day, it's gloomy, it's cloudy. They decide to go on the walk on the beach with Pat. And so this is where Kody has a little bit of a breakthrough, where he says that he's always been afraid to acknowledge the pain, loss, jealousy, anything, depression,
sorrow,
feelings. Yeah. Because he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to be there. And he feels offended by Christine being in pain. Wow. And what did I write down?
Yeah, he says he can't be over... When Christine is in pain, he can't be offended or overburdened by it. He has to acknowledge it. Or maybe
Yes.
that's what Pat said. I don't know.
No, that's what Pat said. Basically, this is what I wrote down, which is Kody loves the validation, but can't or won't give it out to other people.
Right. Exactly.
Because what you love about Pat, Kody, is the fact that she does validate your feelings, that she is validating you, that she is saying, that sounds hard, that sounds difficult. I'm so sorry. You like that, but you don't have the capacity to do it for other people. And I think that Kody has this story in his head, which is this. Plural marriage is difficult. I'm the head of the family. My life is difficult and complicated. I have the most pressure on myself. My role is really hard. And it's almost a little bit like I'm in the most pain. I'm in the most pain all the time. So that he has no ability to validate someone else's or to even see it. I think that what would happen is that Christine would come to him and say, I feel sad, I feel jealous, I feel this, I feel that. And what I wonder is if, because when she said, I feel jealous, and maybe she said, I felt jealous of Robyn, or maybe she just said, I felt jealous of other wives. I think Kody knew how much he liked Robyn. And I think he knew she should be jealous. And I think that is why he kept putting it back on her. Mm-hmm. That's my theory of all of this, is that it was really I think that he very much had this realization that, okay, I really love this person. This is different. This feels different. And it's like, that's the moment where you needed to leave all of this. But he couldn't or wouldn't for various reasons, as we talked about. But, it's interesting because I wrote down, until Robyn showed up, I don't think he ever felt this kind of love before. And so I don't think he recognized the jealousy as a problem until she showed up. That's just my theory.
Yeah. No, and he's now said as much.
Yeah.
He has said that, he really, these other marriages were kind of almost like arranged marriages. Mm-hmm. And I think his and Mary's marriage was more arranged than they let on. Because I think, Kody's dad was new to this religion. And I think Mary's family was already way into it. And they were they lived in the same town, the same church. And, they probably kind of pushed them together a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that, listen, I feel for them. They were 19 and 20 when they got married. Like, to make a huge life decision like that young, we think about identity, which is a big part of White Lotus. We're going to be covering that on Thursday. Mm-hmm. That's the big theme. But I really do. I think that Kody, he came back. His family had this new identity. He has this new identity. Oh, okay. So part of my new identity is I marry this woman. And yeah, I think Kody was doing a lot of stuff for what he felt like he needed to do religious wise, or as a man, as a father, he felt very put upon. But the problem is that since he's such a narcissist, he has no awareness of what the impact is for the women. Mm-hmm. Like, for the fact that maybe this wasn't what they wanted, that they too had an identity like Christine had, or Christine said, I want to be the third wife, and got very attached to that and thought that was the solution to all of her problems. I'll be the third wife. That'll fix everything.
Yeah. Yeah. This was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was. But I don't know. I would just have a lot more respect for Kody if he would just say, you know what? I realized that I fell in love with Robyn. I shouldn't have stayed married. Like, if he just owned any part of it.
I think that's hard for him, because to say that, like, if he hadn't have done all of that and stayed, he wouldn't have all these children. Mm-hmm. And that's very important to him, to his detriment. He's ironically, because he loves his children so much, he's driven them away. Mm-hmm. Because he can't stand to not be with them. That's always been the root of everything. He could not accept that his kids were going to grow up and leave him. Mm-hmm. And even during COVID, that whole thing with Gabe and Garrison, it was like he couldn't believe that his kids would choose this other stuff over being able to see him and be with him. Mm-hmm. And that just profoundly hurt him, I think. And the thing with the big house and all of it, that's his identity. And So I think it's hard for him to say, yeah, I wish I what is he going to say? I wish I never.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think it would have been, what would happen if he acknowledged a little bit of, yeah, I fell in love with Robyn. It was different. It was a different kind of love. It occurred to me. And looking back, I probably wasn't very fair to these other women during this time. But I felt like I was doing what was right or what I was supposed to do, or I felt like I had to hide this and keep this going. And I realize now that probably that wasn't the best thing. It's got nothing to do with that because all the kids were already there by the time Robyn showed up.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that like he wished that, I don't know.
No, not negating the kids, not negating the past, not any of that, but just having some level of, because he loves to make himself the victim. I'm a victim. People are punishing me because I fell in love with Robyn. And it's like, no, you fell in love with Robyn. That's okay. No one's punishing you, but own you're part of that. Own the choices that you made after that and why you made those choices. I also think with Kody, it's about the kids not leaving him, but I think it's also about the kids being really into him the way Aurora is. Like, that's what he wants. Yeah. He wants all the kids to be around and attached around when he wants them to be around, when it's convenient for him, and also very into everything he's doing and saying and thrilled, by everything and not questioning him. That's what he wants.
Yeah. Well, and I think that they were, for the most part, up until a point. Because, even Maddie and Caleb came back after they got married, and they stayed in Janelle's house, and that's where Axel was born. And, I don't know what he wants, but then Caleb got a really good job in North Carolina, and they took it. I mean, they're their own family. He has to support his family. And Kody wants it to be easy for him. Yeah. Because he doesn't want to have to go to North Carolina.
Well,
it's too much.
And that's too much. And it's also back to what Pat was telling him, which is you can empathize and validate Christine's experiences. You don't have to take that on. And I do think that Kody probably did take on, I think he felt like he needed to take on people's emotions and feelings. And I think that he did think that Kody has a hard time with the shades of gray in between. He wants things to be very black and white. He wants things to be very straightforward. And, it's too difficult for him to sit with being in these relationships with his kids that are kind of all different shades of gray, that are different for each kid and different relationships and all of that. Right. So anyway, this was hard to watch. This was really, poor Christine. I'm so happy for you, Christine.
I know. Thank God. Can you imagine if we were watching this and she was still with him? Thank God she's living her best life now with David Woolley.
Yeah. So do we have any idea what year this was? This 2015, 2016 when they went to Galveston?
I don't know. I mean, I think they had been, Solomon was maybe two-ish. So the show started in 2012, right?
2010.
2010. Okay. And he was born maybe year 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2015, 2016.
Okay. Yeah. So then it wasn't until 2020 that she really, she left in 2021, but I think 2020 was a new, when she wasn't seeing him at all, was a new one. So this must have been, this must have been the next step in her steps.
Yeah, because when you think about it, it wasn't that much later that she did leave.
Yeah.
So they moved to Flagstaff a couple of years after this, right? Was it 2018? Ish.
2019, because COVID happens pretty quickly. So I want to say, So it's 2 to 3 years, but and which actually isn't that long for someone who was in this marriage for a long time. So maybe this was the beginning of the end. Maybe we'll find out in the book, the rock formations was the moment in which I decided to put together my plan to get away from this
Can we pre-order that book? Is it available?
God, yes.
Pre-order? Okay, we gotta, because I need that book like as soon as the day it gets released. It needs to be in the mail.
Yes.
To me. So
absolutely.
I gotta look into that.
All right. Well, if you are still here, thank you so much for being here and listening to us. If you enjoy us and want more content, you can always go check out our Patreon at patreon.com. You get all the shows ad-free. You get a weekly bonus where we talk about, our personal lives and things that are going on in our family, as well as other more in-depth pop culture things. We do a monthly true crime and a monthly Ask Us Anything where you can ask us legal questions, mental health questions. That's for the higher tier. So go check us out. There's other ways to support us. Please, if you haven't already, please give us a review. Those reviews do help us and help people find the show. Tell a friend, spread the word. Follow us on social media at Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And subscribe to the podcast. All that good stuff. Thank you so much, everybody.
Right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.